What's going on? You're hanging out with the Rockman, and to my right and to your left, I've got the lead singer of Rise Against, Tim McIlrath.
Oh, you got it right.
I got it right.
Yeah,
Tell me, how many times has your name been slaughtered?
It's been butchered so many times that my wife won't even change her last name. And I once did I did a solo tour with Tom Morello,
Okay.
which was a lot of fun.
Wow, that must have been fun.
And he's a great songwriter, singer, player, obviously. But he's also like an MC of sorts. He likes to just kind of run the show. You know?
Yeah.
And so he was kind of like, just before we went on, you were like, how do you pronounce your last name? And he was asking me that. He's like, now Tim, I've known him for a while, but he's like, how do you pronounce your last name? And I told him, because he wanted to get it right. He wanted to announce me and then have me play. And I remember just before he went on stage, he's pacing back and forth. And he's going, McIlrath, McIlrath, just over and over. And I'm just like, oh no, I'm making Tom Morello say my name over and over or something, like I'm Beetlejuice or something.
Did he get it right?
And he got it right.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that.
You guys are about to release the ninth album, The Black Market.
Seventh record.
Seventh record.
Don't
That was
think it's
nice.
too old.
Okay. What does it feel for you? I mean, you've gotten on this horse before. You're, you've been there before. Release of a record. Is there any kind of feelings that you get?
This was the first record where, like when I just jumped and said seventh record, it was the first time I could actually tell you which record we were on.
Okay.
I mean, I never even paid attention to it. I always screwed up, when someone was like, what record are you on? Because it was like 7 was all of a sudden like a big number. It was like, holy crap, we have 7 records out.
Okay.
And even going into it, we were going into it thinking like, well, we're still here 7 records later. What do you want to do with this record? Like, what do you want to make it sound like? You know what I mean? And whenever we did something in the studio that was maybe a little outside of the box, and we all looked at each other like, are we sure? And someone would kind of just say, hey, 7th record. It's like, It was almost like licensed to kind of like, let's mess around a little bit.
Well, you got a catalog now. You solidified
Right.
a fan base. You can take some chances. You did this documentary a while back that really spoke to me a lot. Being a guy who was in music, kind of stepped away from it for a bit, went back, and I became a dad throughout all that. Called The Other F Word.
Yes.
What was that like? And how did you get involved with that?
So Jim from Pennywise, the singer of Pennywise, wrote a book called Punk Rock Dad.
Okay.
And then the book was really, if you haven't read it, it's really funny.
Okay.
He's a really funny guy and a great writer. And then the book turned into the documentary, where it follows Jim around mostly, but it also visits other fathers in punk rock and dealing with that sort of, parallel of being this punk rock guy who, Jim has songs called Fuck Authority, but then now you have to raise kids where you're supposed to be the authority figure.
Right.
Where does that, how do you, reconcile those two things? And so the documentary turned into that, which turned into a great documentary, not just for fans of Pennywise and NoFX and Rise Against and Rancid, but like, I think anybody can see the sort of the conundrum it is to be this like anti-authority figure that has to raise kids. And so they called me up and they wanted me to be a part of it, and I jumped at the chance. And I remember telling my wife that I said, hey, a camera crew's gonna come to the house tomorrow and they're gonna film me taking care of the kids, And she was like, so let me get this straight. A camera crew is coming to our house tomorrow where you're going to pretend like you take care of these kids. Even though I'm on the road. And I was like, yeah, that's kind of what's gonna happen. And so it turned out, at one point I was looking after the kids. At one point, I think I lost both sets of car keys while the cameras were there. And I had to get someone to like gymnastics or something like that. And I had to like turn to the camera guy and be like, hey, can you drive us to gymnastics? and we had to be driven to gymnastics by the camera guy. There's parts of you that you didn't know could hurt until your kid's like, when are you coming home? And you're looking at your calendar, you're like, I can't come home.
Right.
Like I have to be on the road and do this. And then you realize you're missing out on things, that aren't going to happen again.
Right.
I missed the first 5 Halloweens. You know what I mean? Like I saw my kid walk via a cell phone video.
Right.
And so did the guys in my band. So did a lot of us out there. I'm not alone in it.
So you guys have a lot of support.
Yeah, it's great actually because our drummer has 2 kids, our bass player has 2 kids, Joe and Brandon. So like we're on the same team. We're like, hey, let's go on the road. Let's not like go out for 6 months and like not call home. Let's do this right and smart.
I saw you guys are going to be going out to Europe, I believe, with Pennywise, right?
Yeah. Pennywise were always heroes of ours. They've kind of laid down the groundwork for bands like us to even exist, and so taking out a band like them, which I don't know how it's taken us this long to get on the road with them. We actually did some shows in Canada a few years back, but now we're taking them to Europe. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be crazy. Their guitar player Fletcher is a madman.
Yeah.
And so if we all survive even the first like 5 shows, it'll be nothing short of miracles. And then we'll just have to refund tickets for the rest of the tour.
Do you guys have good end of tour gags that you could do on each other?
Oh man, well, I think that if there's going to be an end of tour gag, it's going to happen on this European tour. We used to do them.
Yeah.
We used to tour with like Boy Sets Fire and Thursday and the Movie Life bands like that. And I remember all of our tour gags got out of hand, and they were all like, it got to the point where we all had to like call a truce. You know what I mean? Everything's like, someone's van got saran wrapped, peanut butter under the handles, all kinds of, taking something really offensive, smelling like a fish or just rotten milk, and putting it somewhere in someone's van where they'll never think to look for it. You know what I mean? Like, it just got so out of hand, we're all had to be like, all right, no more. Let's not do this anymore.
But you get to a certain age where it's probably like it's not fun anymore, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So the Black Market comes out July 15th, and we're really, really looking forward to having you come to Montreal. Is there a Montreal date yet?
We're working on it now. They'll definitely be a Montreal.
Because I know you guys
date.
really do well in Montreal.
Yeah, we love Canada, and then we especially love playing Quebec, and it's awesome. And we just did a show in Quebec City last weekend at the Woodstock.
Yep.
And we'll definitely be back here. We've had so many amazing shows in this area. We filmed part of our video for Satellite in Montreal.
Yeah.
So like we look forward to playing here.
Well, check out the new album. It's called The Black Market. Tim McIlrath from Rise Against.